All right, William in North Carolina, or Will's rather. Hi, Will. Welcome to the show.
Hey there. How you guys doing?
Doing good. How can we help you tonight?
That's good. Well, I have a couple of questions, and also I want to add on to that last call. I totally agree with about just getting any kind of touches. Totally agree. I mean, every time I don't hug my mom for like a week, I start feeling it. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel that.
Yeah. Well, I guess on to my question. Let's see how I can phrase this right. So I want to know if I guess I want to know how people and who are pre-op trans people. Sorry, I don't know. Not necessarily
trans people is good.
Phrases. I'm not the community. Okay, but how do they know that they want to be another gender? I guess, or how can they just look at themselves? I guess. And say, yeah, I guess I'm missing something, or I'm not all me right now.
Yeah, that's a good question, Will. Thanks for calling in with that. I want to make it clear before I jump in that I am one person who has had that experience, so I can certainly speak from my experience, and I can share what I know to be true within the community, but this is by no means everybody, right? Everyone has their own journey. Mm-hmm. But I do want to pinpoint something you said there. How do they know? And how do you look at something at your body or at yourself and say, I need something different. I'm not all here, or, there's something that needs to change. And that really is a huge question that a lot of people don't quite know right away, right? Like we have this one concept of trans people as knowing since the age they were 3. Like they were 3 and they knew they wanted to be another gender. And some people, absolutely, that's how that works. A lot of people go through many, many years of just feeling very uncomfortable in their body for some strange reason, and they haven't pinpointed it because it isn't a common thing that is talked about still. We're getting there. We're getting to the place where people can actually access this information when they need it. But for a lot of people's experience, they didn't actually get this information until much later and even realize this was a thing. For myself, I knew that I hated how I looked in photos. I knew that I hated wearing dresses. I knew that I hated being any attention being called to the more physical attributes of my body. Like there were so many things that just made me so uncomfortable. I would always play the guy character in any make-believe thing that we did as kids, right? There were so many little things that put together, you look back on and you're like, oh, of course that's what that was. But at the time, it really was just, I don't know why, but I feel uncomfortable. So the first way that a lot of people learn about this is actually hearing other people talk about their experience and being able to put a name on it. So for me, a lot of that was listening to other YouTubers who had come out as trans in some way, shape, or form, talk about what it felt like to be dysphoric and realize, oh, this is hitting way too close to home. It is worth mentioning also that a lot of in the DSM-5, I believe is the one we're up to now, the treatment, quote unquote, for dysphoria is transition, right? So if you are wondering maybe if you are trans, this hypothetical person, you could go to a therapist who is trans affirming, because not all of them are, and you could say, here are the things I'm dealing with, and they can help you decide, oh, okay, this is actually a thing that I'm dealing with. This is what that is called. And the treatment option that has been backed by science and by doctors is transition. Now, it doesn't always mean full op, right? That doesn't always mean top and bottom surgery or facial surgery or hormones. It could be any combination that makes that person feel better in their skin. But yeah, that is a combination of doing a lot of introspection and hopefully also getting that support from the medical community.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good way to especially the therapy could really help out, and especially someone who's trans friendly would be definitely a good way to I guess go about that. And that's especially good insight on the inner self, Can you? What about I guess my second question would be like, how do people like say I'm not right, but then I want to be that, which is male or something else? Because if you want to be that, or sorry, you can be that if you want to. It's just how the people. I don't know if people say like, I know I am a male or a female, but do you also know like the full cultures of what those like genders like, or they're just going based off like assumptions and stereotypes of like this is what I thought a male was and this is what I want to be, or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And that gets into the conversation around what is gender versus sex. And do we have to abide by certain gender stereotypes in order to uphold the idea of men and women in the first place? And it's a very complex subject, and lots of people have done amazing research on this topic. For me, I know it came out of a lot of play. Right? When I realized that I might not be a woman, I didn't know what I was, right? It wasn't I know that I am this other thing. It was just, I was living in a box and the box didn't fit. So I got out of the box. And then it was up to me to kind of decide, oh, now what do I do, right? Like, I know that I'm not that thing, but there are other options. And I thought about, was I just a trans man, right? Was I no, that didn't work either. So I knew I wasn't either of those. So I started playing around. I shaved my head. So that felt really good. But then I also started buying like long pink wigs and stuff and like playing with the idea of femininity. And sometimes that felt really good for me. And sometimes I really enjoyed it. And other times I would play around. I would put on drag, right? And I would like make up my face and like give myself stubble. And, that also felt good in a wholly different way. And so a lot of this, for me at least, was just playing and being comfortable using gender as a medium for self-exploration more than anything else. Now, some people put on a masculine costume that first time when they're playing, and they go, oh, this is it. This is right? Other people probably would, the other way happens too. So it does really come down to the individual and what they are looking for and what they feel. And a lot of it is presentation, right? A lot of it is that what we would call stereotypes, right? Well, women wear dresses and high heels, and men wear, baseball caps and, drink beer or whatever. And so there are definitely the gender presentation elements. And those are things that we use to tell other people who we are. Right? That is how we signal to somebody else, this is what I am. This is how I want you to treat me, which is why it can be really hurtful if someone goes through a lot, even like, expensive surgery or hormone treatments and years of like trying to get there. They finally get to that place where they think they're signaling and they still get ignored as what they're trying to signal. So that's why that can be painful. The other side of that, though, is gender identity. So those are two separate things. And one of them is based on our cultural understanding of what a gender is, right? So we have an understanding of men and women. That's presentation. Identity is just who you are as a person. And because language is about categorizing, we categorize by using words like femme or masc or, man or woman. But a lot of that is just putting names to who you feel like as a person and realizing a lot of the time that the names you were given don't fit.
Yeah, totally. I can totally see that because, there's all kinds of, like, there's men who aren't very masculine or like I don't feel like males, or, who are just all over the place, and they can just go. It's a very. I do agree with the wide spectrum, and I'm totally up to just letting people have the title that they want to have, as long as that's just not something completely ridiculous. But yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the only questions I have, and I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Will.
That's all I really had that I can think of, and I really appreciate it. I'm a big fan of you and Eric and the entire show, and I just discovered sexual sexuality Secular Sexuality a little bit ago and really enjoying it so far.
Yay! I'm so glad you called in. Honestly, like the calls where I get to answer questions for people who maybe haven't gotten the opportunity to ask like difficult questions or questions that might be touchy subjects are some of my favorite calls. So thank you so much for calling in, Will. You did a great job. And I hope we uncovered a couple things and cleared some stuff up for you.
Yeah, you guys did great, and I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for calling in. Call back if you have more questions.
Will do, guys. Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Will.
V, I'm glad you were here to field that because there was no way in hell I had any
Right.
again.
I appreciate you guys. That was very diplomatic of y'all, just letting me go off for.
Yeah, this
No,
2/3 of the screen, we were like, so we're two cisgendered guys. How about we take a step back?
Guys, this is what allyship looks like. Sometimes it means
Okay.
not doing anything. But yeah, I love those kinds of calls. Like the reason that I do this more than anything is to have these kinds of conversations with people who maybe feel awkward about bringing it up in other situations. So kudos to Will for calling
Hell
in.
yeah, absolutely.